What's going on, guys? I told you I'd be back. Dion, I got my nap in, so I feel pretty good. Been pretty busy today, so I want to talk to you guys about calories and macros as we are in this crazy time where you guys are having to sub more than ever, figure out how to make things work more than ever, but a lot of you guys are still staying strong and sticking to it. So sticking to your calories is not good enough. A lot of you guys have a goal of either weight loss or building muscle or a combination of the both. Alrighty, so in terms of weight loss, calories, sticking to your calories is totally fine. But in terms of building muscle, not really. Alrighty, so when we just stick to calories, aka the keto diet, aka just starving yourself, you can lose all the weight in the world. Alrighty, so if you starved yourself every single day and all you ate was lettuce and water, you would be really, really skinny. However, you would have no muscle. You would have essentially, we call those people skinny fat. I don't know if you ever heard that name before, skinny fat. So you can be thin and you can look thin and not have a lot of muscle, but still be obese. Alrighty, obesity is a body fat percentage. Back in the day when we didn't have the technology, obesity was a weight, right? You go to the doctor, you jump on the scale, they compare your height to your weight, and they say you're obese. That's your BMI. Nowadays, we don't really care too much about your BMI because we have the technology to find out your body fat percentage. And so your body fat percentage, over 25% for females, over 20% for males is considered obese, alrighty, or overweight. Neither are good. So I could be 150 pounds. Right now I'm at 195 pounds. I could be 150 pounds, completely skinny, but still have a body fat percentage of above 20% or above 25%, and that would make me obese, which is what I don't want and which is what you guys don't want because a lot of you say you want to build muscle. So calories. Eat less calories, lose weight. Pretty simple. But your macros, your proteins, your carbs, and your fats are what help maintain muscle and or build muscle. Alrighty, and so when we are losing weight, we are ensuring that we're losing weight from the right places, which is body fat. Alrighty, in the beginning, a lot of us lose weight from water weight. That's because we're used to a high carb diet because the American diet is very, very high carb. We're used to high salts, high sodiums, and stuff like that, and those things hold on to water. When we start monitoring your carbs, and we start monitoring your sodium intake, we're going to see a lot of water loss. Alrighty, but after that, so the first week, a lot of you guys have said, oh my goodness, I lost 5 pounds, I lost 10 pounds in 1 week. It's not going to stay that way, and we always come down to about that 1 or 2 pound range, as I intended for you to do. So let's say you have a meal, let's say lunch, and lunch is 700 calories. Well, if you go out and you just try to eat 700 calories, you're going to maintain your weight, but what's going to happen to our body fat and our muscle mass? That's the scary thing, and that's what's the hardest thing to do is, alrighty? So, avocados, almonds, all of those things, they have fats and proteins, alrighty? So this is where when you go into the app to log your food and you actually click on avocado or you click on almonds, you can see the nutrition label. All right, you can see the nutrition label per serving. So if I gave you a half of an avocado or 100 grams of an avocado, you'll see it's 12 grams of fats, 3 or 4 grams of protein. We can't forget about 3 or 4 grams of protein, and we can't just eat more fats to make up for those proteins. All right, so we have to kind of stick to those macros. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of your plan while you're logging and hit view macros, you'll see your macros for the entire day. All right, it'll say, hey, you need 150 grams of protein, you're gonna need 250 grams of carbs, you're gonna need 90 grams of fats, right? Those are your macros. There is no such thing, and I have this argument with Sabrina all the time, there is no such thing as a macro-friendly food, a macro-friendly meal, a macro-friendly recipe. There's no such thing. Alrighty, macro-friendly is different for everybody because your macros are different than my macros and your calories are different than my macros, so therefore our macros are different. If we have different calories, we have different goals, we have different needs, your macros are different. So how in the world is this cookie macro-friendly to me? Alrighty? What people mean when they say macro friendly is that it's not extremely high carb or it's not extremely high fat, and they just added some protein. That's really what macro friendly means. But it doesn't mean that it's macro friendly for us. Alrighty? Is it a better option? Yes, because it's probably not going to make you go so far over your carbs and your fats, and it's going to add a little bit of protein. But does macro friendly mean that it's healthy? No. Does macro friendly mean that it's good for us and our goals? No. All right. It's just a sales tactic or a recipe tactic that people do to make fitter people or people on this healthy journey say, oh, it's okay to eat. All righty. So don't pay attention to people who say macro friendly. And your macros, yes, Natasha, cookies. Your macros equal calories. All righty. It's a conversion. So if I have 20 grams of protein, that 20 grams equals 80 calories. It's a 4-to-1 ratio or a 1-to-4 ratio the way that I just did it. Alrighty, so for every gram of protein, we got to multiply by 4 to get calories. For every gram of carbs, we have to multiply by 4 to get calories. For every gram of fat, we have to multiply by 9 to get calories. So if I have 10 grams of fat, 10 times 9 is 90. My 10 grams of fat is 90 calories. Alrighty. Now, pay attention there because my 10 grams of fat is 90 calories, but my 20 grams of protein is only 80 calories. All right? So way more protein, less calories. So that's why a lot of diets are high protein, and that's why all of you guys have 35-40% protein on your plans, is because we can eat a lot of it, and it doesn't give us that many calories. All righty? So in terms of protein, a lot of people ask me about roast beef, steaks, things like that. Those meats are really high in fats. So where your chicken breast, if you have 8 ounces of chicken breast, it's pretty much whatever the protein content is times 4, that's the calories. But in terms of like a roast, or in terms of 80-20 ground beef, or 90-10, or 85-15, or whatever the case may be, where the fat content is a little bit higher, your calories increase exponentially, right? So right now, do the best you can. If there's no ground beef except for 80-20 or 85-15, or no ground turkey except for 85-15, buy it, alrighty? If that's your only option, get it. It's okay, right? We'll push through. And just measure it like normal. And if you're really worried about your fat content, if you have peanut butter or almonds or avocados or cheeses on your plan, just take those out, alrighty, and you'll be fine. So pay attention to those conversions. Alcohol has 7 calories per gram, alrighty, and there's always a couple grams per shot, and there's always a couple shots per serving. So pay those alcohol calories alone, whether it's tequila, whether it's vodka, whether it's a beer, right? There's always a couple grams of alcohol in there, which is where the calories come from, and those calories are technically a carb. And of course, any unnecessary carbs that we have, our body will store as fat, alrighty? So when we eat fat, your body stores it as fat. When you eat carbs, it will try to help build some muscle, maintain some muscle, kind of kick us back into that anabolic routine, and then anything extra of carbs gets stored as fat. Now, proteins, there's something called the thermic effect of food. And the thermic effect of food is how many calories does it take for your body to break down a calorie, right? So let's go back to our protein of 20 grams is 80 calories. If the protein I'm eating gives me 80 calories of energy, it's probably going to take my body 15, 20, 30 calories to just digest that, alrighty? That's called the thermic effect of food. Protein has the highest thermic effect of food, meaning our net difference, if I ate 80 calories and it took me 20 to digest it, break it down, store it, do its thing, I only actually kept 60 of it, right? So that's my net difference. Carbs is a little bit less. So let's say I ate 80 calories worth of carbs. It might take only 12, maybe 10 calories to break it down. The more complex the carb, the better or the higher the thermic effect is. So that's why we like to see your rices and your grains and your potatoes and stuff like that, rather than Gatorades, or fruit snacks or fruit in general. Alrighty. Fiber has a really high thermic effect as well, which is why your vegetables are essentially unlimited, because vegetables, all of their carb content mostly comes from fiber, and it has a really high thermic effect, number one. And number two, we can't store fiber. Alrighty. You just kind of poop it out. So proteins and fibers have the highest thermic effect. They're the safest to eat in abundance. Alrighty. Complex carbs would be third in line. Alrighty. So proteins, fibers, complex carbs. Our complex carbs are the rices, the potatoes, the pastas, the breads. I don't care if it's white. I don't care if it's multigrain. I don't care what it is. It's a complex carb. Alrighty. People think that whole grains, multigrains, and stuff like that is more complex. It's not. Their glycemic index, meaning how fast these carbs get turned into blood sugar, is pretty identical. The difference between the multigrains and the whole grains and stuff like that is actually just the vitamins and minerals attached to it. Alrighty, so that's the big difference. Vitamins and minerals. If you have fruits and vegetables on your plan, you're eating fruits and vegetables on a day-to-day basis, your vitamin minerals are fine. All right. If you take a multivitamin, you're fine. All right. So complex carbs right here, our simple sugars are coming up next. That's going to be your Gatorades, and that's going to be your fruit snacks, and that's going to be fruit in general. Those are pretty simple. So it takes very little calories to break down a sugar molecule or a fruit. All righty. So if I eat 80 calories worth of fruit, or I eat 80 calories versus fruit snacks, it's probably going to take a couple calories to digest that and to store it and to do all those crazy things. Now, fats almost have a zero. All right. If I eat 100 calories of an avocado, minus that little protein it comes with it, right? But let's say the 12 grams of fat that are associated with an avocado, it takes almost 0 calories to take the calories we ate from fat and to store it as fat. Okay. Which is why a lot of people love the keto diet, but anybody who understands nutrition realizes that it's not really that good for you. Alrighty. Because every fat that we eat, we essentially will store it as fat. Now, there is some good news about high fat diets. High fat, your basal metabolic rate, the amount of calories it takes for your body to stay alive, that whole number, let's say my basal metabolic rate is 2,000 calories. I'm this tall, I'm this weight, I'm this age, I'm a male, so on and so forth. My basal metabolic rate, that number is almost 100% fats. Alrighty, so if it says that I burn 2,000 calories by just doing nothing all day, me doing nothing isn't burning carbs, and it's not burning protein, it's burning fats. So that's a plus side to a high fat diet, is if you stay below your BMR, you will be okay in terms of losing weight and storing fat, because you're kind of going to break even. Alrighty, because your BMR is very much fats. All right, so key takeaway points. Macros equal calories, and it is a conversion. Protein is 4-to-1, meaning it's 4 calories per gram. Carbs, fiber, sugars, all of those is a 4-to-1 ratio, meaning it's 4 calories per gram. Fats are a 9-to-1 ratio, meaning if I have 10 grams of fats, it's 90 calories. Alcohol is a 7-to-1 ratio, meaning almost as bad as fats, but gets digested as a carb, as a toxic carb, because your alcohol is a toxin, and we don't like it, and we store it as fast as we can. So your liver filters it and it stores it. Alrighty, so we can't use, like, let's say I chugged a beer and then I went to go work out. Our body wouldn't use the alcohol calories to go work out. Right, it would still pull from other places for energy, and it would practice, and it would store the alcohol as fat somewhere else. Alrighty. Macro friendly is not a real thing. It just means that it's probably monitoring the carbs and the fats and increasing the protein by a little bit. But what's macro friendly for you might not be macro friendly for me. What's macro friendly for them might not be macro friendly for you. So don't fall into this downhill spiral of buying everybody's macro-friendly cookies and macro-friendly cupcakes, alrighty, because they're not, alrighty. They're just saying, hey, instead of being all fats and sugars, I put a little bit of protein in it, but it's still probably all fats and sugars, alrighty. If you're on your free day, Sunday, Saturday, whatever your day is, your free day, I would love for you to stay close to your caloric range. And that's going to help monitor your weight gain or your weight loss. Alrighty. If you can, try to hit your macros as well. So hit log nutrition, pull up your plan, whichever plan you're going to follow, scroll to the very bottom, hit view macros. And remember, it's going to go proteins first, it's going to go carbs second, it's going to go, fats first, carbs second, proteins last. Those three numbers make up your total calories. So if you have a 2,000 calorie plan, your fats, your carbs, and your proteins are going to equal those calories if you multiply them out. Alrighty. Now the app takes away some of the fiber, and it doesn't really add those in to the calories. So I struggle a lot with those vegetables, and should I give you more carbs in terms of like rices, pastas, fruits, fruit snacks, Gatorades, things like that, or should I just let you be short on some of your carbs? But for simplicity, your fats, carbs, proteins equal your calories. Alrighty. So on your free days, if you can hit your macros, you will also hit your calories. But just because you hit your calories doesn't mean that you hit your macros. Okay. Now your plans are based on a percentage. So in the title, you'll see 35P, 35C, 30F. That's a percentage. 35% of your plan is coming from proteins, 35% of your plan is coming from carbs, and 30% of your plan is coming from fats. Then I divide out those 4-to-1, 4-to-1, and 9-to-1 ratios, and that gives me your grams. Alrighty? So make sure that on your days, especially days like today, like we're in, if you're going to make a bunch of substitutions, then please pay attention to your macros. Alrighty. Do the best you can. If we have to drop our meats in terms of I need to drop to an 80-20 or an 85-15, then that's okay. We have to do the best that we can do, but we could make it up with egg whites if we have them, a protein shake if we have them, because 85-15 is going to be less protein and more fats per serving rather than 93-7. So 93-7 is going to be more protein, less fats, and probably less overall calories than the 85-15. So we're going to have to make up somewhere. Alrighty, we're going to have to take away fats from our plan, and we're going to have to add in protein somewhere, right? Which is pretty annoying. And that's why you guys have me. That's what I'm here for. So if you happen to go to the grocery store and all you could find was a different protein, just let me know. I will pull up your plan and I will say, hey, on this day where you normally have this protein, you don't have it anymore. Go ahead and take out this and add this, right? So someone the other day asked me for eggs. She had a protein shake for breakfast. She didn't want it. She wanted eggs. So I said, okay, hey, add 3 eggs, take away some almonds, add about a half scoop of protein. Alrighty, so it's totally doable. That's what I'm here for. I know that it's annoying. I know that it's tedious, but macros will lead to the most success in terms of your transformation, right? Because honestly, I don't care about how much you weigh. I care about how much body fat you have. And for women, if you're over 25%, or some websites say 26 or 27%, and males, if you're over 20% or 22%, you're considered obese. Now, that word obese is linked to a bunch of health issues, not your weight. That was old school. That's your BMI, your body mass index. That's just a height to weight ratio, meaning that if you built a bunch of muscle and that caused you to gain weight, then you're considered unhealthy, which is just kind of a lazy way to do things. But it was such a big part of the medical system that it hasn't gone away yet. We're just saying, hey, like Arnold Schwarzenegger was 2% body fat, but was considered obese by a BMI scale. Alrighty, so make sure that you're hitting your macros, because that's going to help you have that awesome muscle growth and burning fat and losing weight from a body fat standpoint. Alrighty. Our goal is to get everybody within a healthy body fat percentage. Alrighty, that's my goal. I know you guys probably have a scale goal, and that's awesome. It's something to stick to. But if you follow your calories and you follow the macros that I've assigned you, both things would happen simultaneously. Your weight would decrease, and so would your body fat. And the goal is to make both of these things decrease without losing so much muscle mass. Alrighty, because when you get older, when you're in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, the one thing you're going to want is more muscle. Alrighty, you're going to want to be a little bit stronger, so getting up and down isn't as hard. You're going to want more muscle, so we don't break a hip when we fall every time. We want more muscle, so if we do fall and we catch ourselves, we're not, breaking an arm, dislocating an elbow or a shoulder. So we want muscles for those reasons. Muscles also play into a role of your basal metabolic rate. So if you want to continue to eat more food, we need to continue to kind of maintain our muscle mass, right? So people on the keto diet, they're losing a ton of weight. A lot of that weight is coming from muscle, alrighty, because it's all fats. You can eat all the protein you want, but unless you have some carbs with a stimulus of insulin that helps anabolicness, insulin is a very anabolic hormone. So it's a storage hormone, it's a building hormone. And without the stimulus of exercise, you're not going to build any muscle. Alrighty, so we need the carbs, we need the proteins, and we need exercise to build muscle. And if we build muscle long term, we will be much happier than if we just lost weight. Right? I can't tell you how many clients I have that have had a gastric bypass, a gastric sleeve, done the keto diet, a couple years ago, and right now they're not happy. Alrighty, so weight loss is not everything. Alrighty, muscle mass and body fat percentage weighs a lot more in our health rather than just weight loss or weight gain. Alrighty, so recap: calories doesn't always equal macros. Our macros equal our calories. Alrighty, so 1,800 calories of all fat and 1,800 calories of your 30-30-40 plan is two totally different plans. Try to hit both. On your free days, try to stick closer to your calories. Enjoy your French toast or whatever on your free day, but try not to go above your calories. While we're making these crazy subs in times like now where everything is scarce and we can't find a lot of things, it's easy to pick and pull. So if I need to pull out some of my almonds or I need to pull out some of my cheeses to make up for maybe that fattier protein source, maybe there was only ribeye steak left. Eat ribeye steak, right? Don't starve yourself. Don't just not eat a protein. Go ahead and eat the steak, but we're going to have to pull some fats from somewhere and we're going to have to add some protein somewhere else. So it might be in the form of a shake, right? So supplement companies are pretty stocked. I haven't heard of anything saying that, GNC or Rox is out of protein. So we can add that protein shake in if we need to, if we're short. Macro friendly is just kind of a marketing tactic to get you to buy their product. It's not really true. Their macro friendly stuff just means they added some proteins and they cut back on some carbs and some fats. But what's macro friendly for you isn't really macro friendly for me because our macros are different. Alrighty. And don't stress. We will be out of this hopefully by May on a pretty optimistic side. So a couple more weeks and we'll get through this. The grocery stores will be fine. Everyone will stop panicking. No matter how many stop panicking memes we post, it's not really helping anybody not panic. Alrighty, so just be careful. Take care of yourself. I'm here to help you pick and pull. So if you get stuck with a meat, Dion, I see you're on here. She had ground chicken the other day. I've never eaten ground chicken. I've never even looked at ground chicken before. So I Googled ground chicken and it looked terrible. So I said no. But then she sent me the picture of HEB ground chicken and it's an awesome substitution. It's pretty much the same as a 93.7 ground beef or ground turkey. Alrighty, so ground chicken is an option if you have that. All right, so we have to make it work. Don't forget about canned tuna or canned chicken breast. Those are very, very lean sources of protein if we need those lean sources. Alrighty. Now let's say, hey, I need a 93.7 ground beef. There wasn't any. All I could get was tuna or chicken. Right? Well, guess what? Most of what we do with ground chicken and ground tuna is add mayonnaise. Now that mayonnaise is going to give us the fat content that we needed from that 93.7 ground beef or ground turkey. Alrighty. So if you guys get stuck in a bind, just buy what you can buy. Reach out to me. If I say, no, this is terrible, like I did with Dion, just send me a nutrition label and be like, no, Joseph, I think it's okay. And I will maneuver your plan to make it work. Alrighty. All right, guys, this video will stay here on the page, so always pull it back up. All right, have a good day. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.